Welcome to This Week in High School Sports, and happy Monday, Steve.
Happy Monday to you. A much drier Monday than it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, it certainly was. I always feel for those athletes when they have to go through the rain and the wind and the mud in the weather we've been having.
Yeah, I guess when you play fall sports in Washington State, you become used to that, but it's still not a lot of fun when you have to go through it. And especially the past few days, it was pretty brutal out there.
Yeah. So let's get to that windy, rainy football.
Yeah, we had the rainiest of the games was on Thursday night. We're so used to Friday games around here. We finally got a Thursday night game, and probably not the ideal Thursday night to do it on. It was Edmonds-Woodway and Shorewood, and as if the rain wasn't enough, Shorewood really having a rough night as Edmonds-Woodway jumps out to a 35-0 lead at the half. They win the game 49-0. Capaccio Cherry, only a sophomore, 5 touchdowns in the first half. And just to prove that, in fact, it was pouring down rain that night, we have a picture right here we're going to put up. That's Gabe Schimpf, who is running the football. And if you look closely enough, you can see little droplets all around him.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really even tell the story. It was a brutal night out there. But like I said, Edmonds-Woodway, they didn't seem to mind. They get the victory, and they stay undefeated in league play. Another team that stayed undefeated in league play, the Meadowdale Mavericks, they picked up a 38-0 win over Shorecrest on Friday night. Sets up a huge game between those two, Meadowdale and Edmonds-Woodway. Jam the stands.
Stadium jam,
jam.
depending on who you talk to.
Whichever school you're talking to. What we are going to call it is the division championship game. Whoever wins that game will, in fact, win the Wesco 3A South title. So it's 5 o'clock on Friday. SoundLiveSportsNetwork.com. If you can't get out to the game, you can watch it live. But the game of the past week involved neither of those teams. It was the Lynnwood Royals. They got together with the Everett Seagulls, playing a game that both teams really desperately needed in order to stay in the playoff hunt. Great game. Tied up at the half, 13-13. Lynnwood scores 3 touchdowns in the third quarter, so they're up by 21 at that point. We're kind of thinking the game's over. But then all of a sudden, Everett comes back. They score 3 unanswered touchdowns. Tie game. Riley Johnson, the kicker for Lynnwood, steps onto the field as time's about to expire, misses a 31-yard field goal that would have won the game, sends it into overtime. So then we go into overtime play. Everett gets the ball first. Jared Anderson picks off a pass in the end zone, gives Lynnwood a chance to score. And then Riley Johnson, who didn't get the victory the first time around, gets a chance at redemption. This time a 35-yard field goal. This time he makes it. Lynnwood wins the game 37-34. And for all intents and purposes, they probably wrapped up a playoff berth the other night. They've got 2 games coming up with Shorecrest and Mount Lake Terrace. We expect them to probably win both of those games. So great job for the Royals. And like I said, all 3 of those teams right now, Edmonds-Woodway, Meadowdale, Lynnwood, all having fantastic seasons.
Oh, that's really great. Great to hear. And what's happening with our swimmers?
Swimming, big week coming up. I should mention first that Meadowdale and Lynnwood both picked up victories over Monroe last week. So nice job for the Royals and the Mavs. But really, it's this coming Saturday that we're going to be keeping an eye on things. It's the Edmonds School District Championship meet. That takes place at the Lynnwood Pool. And then the divers are going to be qualifying up at Snohomish for their chance to maybe make it to districts and or state. So all of a sudden, we're wrapping up some of the regular seasons of our fall sports, and we're heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, okay, very good. And the cross-country runners had their share of rain and wind, didn't they?
They did, and in particular, we have to go back to Thursday night again. It was very wet out, and certainly if you're running, you're accustomed to that, but it's not always ideal, especially when you're at Ballinger Park, where it tends to get very muddy. The Edmonds School District Championship meet took place. The Edmonds-Woodway teams, both victorious in that one. We've got a picture of the girls who were celebrating their victory. In terms of the individuals, they took 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place, so nice job by the Warriors there. The boys also took the team title, and we've got a picture of the Warriors there as well.
And you can tell that they're definitely wet.
They're very wet.
No doubt.
Matthew Park, by the way, took 1st place overall, so great job by Matthew. And I know Sam McLuhan took 3rd overall. 1st and 3rd, that means there's somebody in 2nd, and we've got a picture of that runner. There's Cameron Sanders that we're going to put up on the screen from Meadowdale. So he rounded out the top 3, if you will, and did a nice job. So a great job by a lot of those runners. I haven't mentioned who won the girls individual yet, and there's a reason for that. We're getting there in a moment because we've got an interview coming up. But I did also want to mention that on Saturday, the Mount Lake Terrace boys and girls went down to the George Fox West Cook Cross Country Classic down in Oregon, and they had a pretty good showing as well. So a lot of cross country going on. But first and foremost, we want to still make sure that we're giving our praise where praise is due to the runners of the Edmonds School District meet from last Thursday. Champion runner from the girls' side of things was Malia Pivec. We've mentioned her name before. We had Malia on in the studio earlier tonight, along with Leul Wolde, who finished 9th on the boys' side of things for Lynnwood. Top 2 male and female runners for the Royals. So we had them come in and we talked to them about not only that meet, but also a few other things. And here's that interview. The Edmonds School District Cross Country Championships were this past Thursday. Thursday in which it was very rainy and windy over at Ballinger Park. And with us, 2 of the members of the Lynnwood cross country team that participated in that event. Malia Pivec, the female winner of the contest, as she defeats 5 different Edmonds-Woodway runners who were directly behind you that finished 2nd through 6th. And then we have Leul Wolde, who finished 9th for the boys. And both of you, congratulations on a great evening. We've got to talk a little bit about that weather, though. Malia, that was crazy out there that day. Matter of fact, I think you mentioned to me off air that you even started the contest a little bit early that night, or the invite?
Yeah, the races started 30 minutes prior to when they were originally supposed to start, so it affected my warm-up a little bit, but I tried not to let it bother me too much. We don't like the course that much because it's pretty bland. There's no really hills or anything, but it was a nice, quick loop-de-loops, so...
And that's not the first time we've heard that. We had Yukino Parle and Olivia Yetter in here earlier this year, and they both mentioned that it's not necessarily everybody's favorite course either. And Leul, I've got to think that when it rains like that, it's not exactly the smoothest course either, right?
Oh no, of course not. It is it's ankle-biting city over there.
So it's very muddy and very wet, but you both finished it. Malia, you finished 25 seconds ahead of Yukino. The 2 of you have had some really epic battles over the last couple of years. I know that you ran against her the week before and at the Hole in the Wall at Lakewood, and she happened to win that event or defeated you. This time you got her by 25 seconds. Were you in the back of your mind constantly thinking, where is she? Is she coming any second? Or what was your thought?
I know she finishes really well either on the track or the course, so I wanted to get out quick and maintain the pace. I threw in a couple surges here and there, but I think I executed my race plan pretty well. Yeah,
and we've got a picture of you, as a matter of fact, that we're going to put up on the screen right now. You can see those umbrellas back there. Rainy day like that, do you enjoy running in that kind of weather? As a runner, what do you prefer?
Honestly, I feel I run quicker when the course is dry, so no. But a few of our teammates, like Taylor Fahey, for example, loves when it's raining. I don't know if it's misty, but I prefer the dry weather because it leads to quicker times.
Sure. And Leul, you're not always running at Ballinger, and you're not always running in the rain like that. You guys, as a team, you've gone to some pretty cool places this year, and you've run at some really interesting events. Tell me about one of your favorites so far this year.
So far this year, my favorite event was probably Nike Portland, and what we were blessed with the opportunity of running there when it happened to be just overcast, but it's not quite raining. So, like what Malia said, she prefers it when the course is dry, like myself. But it was also quite cold enough that it's comfortable to run in.
And Malia, I've got to think when you go to an event like Nike in Portland, some very, very good runners and very good teams that were at that event. Tell me a little bit about your experience down there and what you thought of it.
Yeah, the competition is pretty tough. We ran in the 2nd division, so it wasn't as quick as the first race. So I was lucky to experience some of the lower tier, but not the top tier. I ended up winning my race, and I had a great first 5K of the season.
And it's always kind of fun to get out and run in different places and experience new adventures. Running's one of those things where you can take it with you and go just about anywhere. Malia, I think you and I were talking a little while ago. You went up to Alaska this past summer and had a chance to get out and run up in the great state of Alaska. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, my family went on a cruise this summer, the last weekend of August, so it was really fun to visit. Instead of going on excursions, I went on my own, just running in the hills, and Alaska is very hilly, so it was good for training.
So indeed, but you guys do other sports as well. Track is another one. Leul, we're going to ask you about that a little bit. Very similar for cross country to track in that some of the distances are almost the same, but not quite. Tell me a little bit about your track experiences and what you're looking to do maybe this spring.
As of last year, I think I've picked up the 2 mile, different than most years prior, because freshman year I've never ran the 2 mile, so it was a new experience my sophomore and junior year, and turns out I prefer that over most events. I find myself more of a stronger runner over a faster runner, so the mile and the 2 mile really worked well for me.
And Malia, now what about you? Or do you have a favorite event? Is it cross country? Is it one of the track distances? What are your preferences as far as running?
I like the cross country course because it's different. It's not same 8 laps every time because I usually run the mile and the 2 mile on the track. And I feel like Leul, my aerobic base is pretty good, so I have more of the stronger fast twitch muscles than the immediate fast twitch muscles.
So a lot of different distances there and different sports. Leul, one other sport, you're a wrestler.
Yes,
During the winter, as a matter of fact, we have a picture of you that we're going to put up right here. That's from the regionals last year, I guess, and you made it to the Tacoma Dome last year.
Yes,
What was that experience like for you?
It was quite exciting, and I was quite overwhelmed being a junior walking into pretty much a senior-only event. All the wrestlers there were extraordinary, and unfortunately, I did not make it too far into the tournament. I was removed after the first day, but it was still worthwhile, and I hope I can see it again this year.
And we should point out, for folks who don't know, Mat Classic is the name of the event. That's the state championships at the Tacoma Dome. I think it's 24 different mats throughout the floor.
Yes, of course.
It's quite the spectacle. So if anybody has a chance this year, they should go down there. And hopefully in February, I guess, you'll be back at it again and with another opportunity. But before you do that, we've got some other things we still need to talk about, too. You've got some big races coming up. You guys are far from done. Nice that you won the district championship, but Malia, you've got another big race coming up this weekend.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the Wesco Conference meet, which is going to be at Lynnwood High School. And this year it's a combination of 3A and 4A, so we'll have some good contenders in there. For example, Taylor Rowe and the best of 3A as well.
So Taylor Rowe up at Lake Stevens, maybe one of the, if not the best runner in the state, one of the best runners for her age group, certainly on the West Coast, right?
Yes, definitely.
So we will see. And then, Leul, you're going back up to run in that event. That's at Lynnwood High School. You guys were just there a couple weeks ago for the Hole in the Wall event. Good course. Do you enjoy running up there?
Oh, I did enjoy this year quite well. The course was remodeled quite well, and I love how that finish, it was more accessible because it was, I wouldn't say it would be easier to pass people, but it was definitely more the ability to see your opponents as you finish did quite help out.
So we will see. So that's this Saturday. And then the following Saturday, this is when it really counts, right, Malia? This is where you have to actually qualify for the state meet, which is the following week after that. How many runners are going to come out of which I guess is taking place at South Woodby for the districts in 2 weeks? How many runners are going to come out of that and qualify for state?
This year the allocations changed for state, so bumping up from 15 last year. Now we have 28 individual runners that make it in 4 teams, and that's going to be all the teams that were in Wesco 3A plus Ferndale minus Montlake Terrace.
Yeah, Montlake Terrace, who is a 2A school, so they'll be competing elsewhere. So top 28 runners, both male and female, correct?
Yes.
And so now, Leul, you and I were talking a little while ago too. Where are you currently ranked amongst the group of runners from those schools that we just talked about?
I'm currently ranked 24th, and I feel really excited for this opportunity to compete with my fellow peers, for this opportunity to run at the state meet. This would be my first time ever going if I made it.
And that state meet would be at Pasco the following week. So that's, I guess, now that we're doing the math, 3 weeks from now, I think the first weekend in November. You mentioned Pasco, and Malia, you've had a chance to run there 2 different times as a freshman and a junior. What would it mean and I'm sure you've probably talked to Leul about this, what does it mean to run at Pasco in the state championships?
Going back a 3rd time would be awesome because I feel the best race happens when you race on the course the 3rd time. You know where to surge, you know where to pick your moments, and you know when to go. So. And
Leul, it would be an awful nice deal for you to get there too, right? I mean, you've like you said, you've never been there. Did you have a chance to come close to getting there last year, or is this an all new experience for you?
This was an all new experience for me. I've never been this close to making it.
So we will see how that turns out. Other things going on in your lives. I should mention Lynnwood High School. You guys had a very interesting week. It was homecoming week this past Friday. School dance was supposed to be the following night, but a potential storm that never happened postponed it. So are you guys still kind of celebrating homecoming this week, or what's it like at school right now?
We will. There's an unofficial Spirit Week going on at school, not for Spirit points, but just the seniors and kind of upperclassmen are doing that, trying to get the school still involved with the Spirit. We do have another football game. It won't be quite considered the homecoming game, although we won our last one, 37-34, and that was really exciting.
Very good point.
Our theme was road trip, and so we said that we took a little detour on our trip because not all roads are perfect. So
Sure. So the homecoming dance has been moved from what was supposed to be last Saturday now to this Saturday night. So you've had an extra week of homecoming, which is kind of exciting. Other things going on right now, other than school. A question I wanted to ask you guys too. Going over to Lynnwood High School, and when I drive up and down the roads there, not a lot of places to run. Where, as a cross country team, where exactly do you do a lot of your training? Is it that easy to get around there, Leul? I mean, what's the course like for you in terms of? I always think of the old Lynnwood High School where it was right next to the mall, a lot of streets to run up and down on. Do you guys have a lot of good places to run by the high school?
We have a few. I mean, most of the courses we have to go out for like a good mile to actually get to a nice route. But we have courses by Jackson High School and McClellan Park and Mill Creek to run around.
How do you feel about it, Malia? What do you like best about running around Lynnwood?
I don't like all the cement near our course because it's bad for your knees and your joints. I'd prefer soft surface, but I really like the hills around. We have the big 164th hill coming up from Milk Creek, and then we also have wood trails. So
a lot of good training around there. And finally, let's talk college for a minute here. You're both seniors. I know you're both very studious. You're intelligent. What are your thoughts for next year, and maybe not only in terms of where you want to go to school, but potential for maybe continuing with athletics too? Leul, I'll start with you. Where are you looking right now?
Well, I would love to go to the University of Washington in Seattle. And right now, I'm kind of having an inner debate on whether or not I want to continue running as an athlete. But if I were to pick over my major, I would obviously have to go for my studies as a computer science major.
So you'll do all right with that. And then, Malia, what about you? Where are you looking right now?
I would love to continue running in college, and over the course of my first couple of weeks of senior year, I visited Lipscomb University and Boise State on officials, and I really like both schools. I'm getting closer to my decision, narrowing it down, but not sure exactly yet.
And we should mention Lipscomb is in Tennessee, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking to travel maybe a little bit.
Maybe.
We'll see. So, but first and foremost, they've got more schooling to do at Lynnwood, got more running to do over the next few weeks, so it'll be very exciting. So we'll see if they can continue with this success. First up, Lakewood High School this week. South Woodby High School the following week, and if everything goes as planned, hopefully both of these two will be in Pasco in 3 weeks. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
I know I've said this before, but I'm always amazed by the level of maturity and how articulate some of these high school athletes are that we have in the studio.
Yeah, it's like some of them have done this before, right? I don't know if it's the age of social media or what it is with camera phones, but they all seem to handle themselves so well with composure and grace, and certainly Malia and Leul, two great student athletes, not just athletes. So it's fun to have them in studio.
Yes, it is. All right. And you mentioned that they had like 3 different meets coming up in the next 3 weekends?
Yeah, they're going to be busy over the next 3 Saturdays. So they participate in the Wesco divisional meet up at Lakewood High School in Arlington this Saturday. Really not a lot on the line there. It's a chance for them to get together with some of the other runners in Wesco, but nothing's going to be decided or determined in terms of who's going to state. That happens the following week. They'll be taking part in the district meet up at South Woodby High School. That's October 29th. And like Malia mentions in the interview, the top 28 males and females from each side qualify for the state meet, which takes place in Pasco on November 5th. It's the state championship, so that'll be a lot of fun too, and we hope to see quite a few of our runners there this year.
Yeah, well, and maybe some nicer weather than wind and rain. Tri-Cities can sometimes be better than on this side of the mountains.
November, anything goes. So
yeah, that's really true. Well, and what about soccer?
Soccer, we have a few different things going on. We kind of teased the Edmonds-Woodway Arlington match last week when Gabby Chappelle was here. Didn't go quite the way they wanted. They lost 1-0 to Arlington, but fortunately for Edmonds-Woodway, there's still some season left, and certainly the district playoffs are coming up, so they'll have a chance to maybe get some revenge there. I think the team I feel the most sorry for was Snohomish. They had to play Edmonds-Woodway after that loss, and Edmonds-Woodway is a pretty good team. I'm sure that they were wanting to get a victory after that, and they defeated Snohomish 6-0 later on in the week. So tough loss if you're a Panther, but certainly the Warriors bouncing back rather nicely. And we're going to be keeping an eye on things all week because like we mentioned, the soccer district tournament will be coming up fairly soon. Edmonds-Woodway kind of battling for 2nd and 3rd place right now. Lynnwood is currently in 8th position, and the top 9 make it to the tournament. So it's kind of touch and go for them. They've got 3 matches left in the regular season, all against very tough opponents, one of which is on Thursday night. They're going to be home against Marysville-Getchell. So if anybody wants to go support the Royal Soccer team, there's your chance to do so. And bring your umbrella just in case.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. And volleyball.
Yeah, volleyball, a few of our teams getting victories this past week, one of which was Mount Lake Terrace. We've got a picture of Emily Roldan, who is serving there at the Terraceum, as they like to call the Mount Lake Terrace High School gym. And they were able to defeat Oak Harbor Thursday night. But the other two teams that we're really keeping an eye on right now for playoff purposes, Lynnwood and Meadowdale. Lynnwood picking up a victory over Marysville-Pilchuck on Tuesday, Meadowdale defeating Lynnwood on Thursday. Both of those schools right now are 6-2 in league play, which puts them in a tie for fourth place. Top four teams in Wesco 3A get byes for the first round, and they get to surpass the loser out first round game. They get into the double elimination automatically. So it's kind of a big deal to finish in the top four. So we'll see if it's Meadowdale or Lynnwood, or perhaps both if they can pass another team above them. But they'll be trying to finish their regular season out this week. Edmonds-Woodway currently in 7th place, and the top 9 make the playoffs. So they're looking to hold on to one of those playoff spots. So again, by this time next week, we should have a pretty good idea as to who's in and who's out, and we will keep you posted as to how that's going.
Okay, and I can't believe we're already getting to the playoffs, but a lot of the teams are already there, and tennis included, right?
Yeah, tennis is already there, especially 2A. We always have to kind of remind ourselves that Mount Lake Terrace moved down, and they play in a 3A conference, but for playoff purposes, they moved down to 2A, and that district tournament already started this past week. And our guy, Jeremy Ansdale, who we had in studio, still undefeated. He has advanced to the semis of the district individual playoff. He'll be going up against a tennis player from Wolde this week. I think it's tomorrow, actually, trying to get to the championship. And then we've got Adam Lorraine and Max Ladick, who play doubles for Mount Lake Terrace, who are also trying to go through their tournament. They do have one loss already in a double elimination tournament, so they need to make sure they keep winning. But hopefully all three of those tennis players we just mentioned can get to state by the end of the week. And then on the 3A side of things, again, Meadowdale, Lynnwood, Edmonds-Woodway, they are hoping, we say hoping because it's weather permitted, they're hoping to get their district tournament in this week. They're scheduled to be at Glacier Peak on Tuesday and Wednesday. So again, we will see if the weather holds off for them, and hopefully some of our tennis players from those three schools can also get to state this year.
Okay, very good. Well, we will again have all the results for you next week, and we hope that you will join us in the Sound Live Sports Network on Friday night if you can't make it to either one of those district games with all four of our teams.
Yeah.
They're there, and we always have a lot of fun doing those.
The big one is the 5 p.m. start.
Yeah,
That's Meadowdale, Edmonds-Woodway, and the winner of that game wins the Wesco 3A South Division, and followed by Lynnwood, Mount Lake Terrace. Even though I don't think there's a lot on the line necessarily for Mount Lake Terrace, those two schools, anytime they get together in a sporting event, always riveries and always a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and those games are always, even for Meadowdale and Edmonds-Woodway, they're such crosstown rivalries. I mean, they're always fun. And you never know who's going to really win until the end. So please join us next week, and have a great week, everybody.